Made on Zencastr.
Hello and welcome to Fit for My Age, the health and well-being podcast from Abeceda. I'm your host, Michael Millward, the Managing Director of Abeceda. Today, my guest is Amy White, who is an holistic nutritionist. As the jingle at the start of this podcast says, Fit for My Age is made on Zencastr, because Zencastr is the all-in-one podcasting platform that makes every stage of the podcast production process so easy. If you would like to try podcasting using Zencastr, use the link to zencastr.com in the description. It has a built-in discount. Now that I have told you how wonderful Zencastr is for creating podcasts, we should create one that will be well worth listening to, liking, downloading, and subscribing to. Very importantly, on Fit for My Age, we will not tell you what to think, but we do hope to make you think. Today, my guest is Amy White. Amy is an holistic nutritionist who is based in a place called Chico, which is in Northern California. I have visited Northern California, but not Chico. I understand from Amy that it is where the nuts come from.
That's right.
If I get to visit Northern California again, I will make my travel arrangements at the Ultimate Travel Club, because at the Ultimate Travel Club, I get access to trade prices on flights, hotels, trains, package holidays, and all sorts of other travel-related purchases. You can also access those same discounts by using the link to the Ultimate Travel Club that is in the description. It also has a built-in discount. Now that I have paid some bills, it is time to make an episode of Fit for My Age. Hello, Amy.
Hello, Michael. Such a pleasure to be here.
We'll take a rain check on that and see whether you say the same thing in half an hour.
Okay.
Please, could we start by you just explaining how you became an holistic nutritionist and actually what a holistic nutritionist is?
Yeah, I would love to explain this because I didn't know what it was either way back when. The reason I got into this was because my daughter, as a teenager, she had gut issues. So she always felt it kind of was always there. She was always uncomfortable, but even when she was little, but we'd go out to restaurants and she would inevitably have to get up and leave the table and go sit outside on the curb and take deep breaths and calm down because she would just start feeling so ill. So this went on for years. And, as such a great mom, right? I'm sort of like, oh, I guess that's kind of normal. I don't know. But as she was getting ready to go to college, I thought, I don't want her to go to college and not be able to eat food and feel comfortable. So we went and saw the traditional gastrointestinal expert doctor. And they did a ton of tests, very invasive tests, in the hospital tests. And basically in the recovery room, the doctor came over to me and said, oh, she's so healthy. Everything's fine. She's perfect. There's nothing wrong. And I said, well, when we came in, she wasn't perfect. There's something wrong. And she's like, no, everything looks great. And then she goes, oh, I mean, her small intestine is very red and inflamed, but that's not anything to worry about. And then she left. And I thought to myself, that seems like something to worry about. I don't know what to do. And it was the first time in my life where I literally didn't know what to do. Like I didn't know who next to ask a question to, because that was the expert. Because I'm not one to kind of let things just lay. If it doesn't feel right, I'm going to dig it out.
Yep.
But I didn't know where to dig next. And so one of my friends said, well, you need to go see this nutritionist. And I'm like, I don't even know what that is, but I'm in, whatever. And so we did. And it was very quick. And at that time, she basically told my daughter to stop eating gluten.
It was very trendy at the time, really, wasn't it? In that era, to stop eating gluten.
So we immediately left the office, went to this very fancy grocery store down the street, and bought everything we could find in a bag and a box that said gluten-free. This is not something I recommend to people now, but I will admit that it made a difference. Within a week, she felt better. This kid had had stinky feet her entire life since she was a baby. She had terrible dandruff. She was puffy, all of these things. This has been going on since she was a baby. And in retrospect, I now realize that that was her body trying to detox. And as soon as we took the gluten out of her diet, it all went away. like within a week. It was crazy. And I just thought, oh my God, food is magic. I need to know everything. And I finally looked at my husband and I said, I'm out of things to read. I think I need to go back to school because I need a syllabus. And he's like, great, do it. Go back to school. So I started looking for programs. And in the United States, they have registered dietitian is the program. So I started looking at those programs and reading what we do and what's covered. And I realized it's exactly the opposite of what I believed now, based on all the information I'd already read and what I saw work in real life. And I'm like, I could do it, but I'm not going to, I'm not going to like what I'm hearing in those classes. So I kept looking, and then I stumbled upon something called holistic nutrition, started investigating that, and I was like, this is it. This is what I believe. So, no, holistic nutrition is this whole body root cause approach. So, it's looking at the dandruff and the stinky feet and the gut and discomfort, gas, bloating, pain as a symptom of something else. So it's not, we're not going to try and fix the dandruff. We're not going to try and give you an antacid so your stomach doesn't hurt. I mean, you can certainly treat the symptom, but what we really want to understand is what's causing that to happen in the first place. So that's the difference. And so what I really learned out of the gate in my program was how food impacts the body. It's just every single bite of food you take is information, and that's how the body communicates. So you're telling it something with every bite of food, and it's responding with hormones and going, oh, okay, you want us to do this, well then we'll do this. As far as I was concerned, I had no issues with food at all. I'm fine. I still will tell you I don't have a lot of food sensitivities. I just don't. I can pretty much eat anything and not feel uncomfortable. That doesn't mean my body wasn't reacting to certain foods in maybe not the best way. And that's kind of what I discovered.
Your body reacts to everything that we eat and different combinations of what we eat.
Yeah.
In the body doing that, you wouldn't necessarily know about it unless part of that reaction caused a symptom that was either inconvenient or painful.
Right. And the problem is we all have a lot of those symptoms, but we think that they're normal because everybody has them. They're not normal, they're common. So, heartburn, reflux, gas, bloating, joint pain, ankle swelling, migraine headaches, depression, anxiety. These are all symptoms that we all start thinking are normal because our best friend has it, our sister has it, the guy down the street has it, everybody has it. It's not normal. They're just common. So while I didn't consider myself somebody who had trouble with food, and I still don't to some degree,
Hmm.
I was having those symptoms. That was me at 37 years old. I felt old. I felt tired. I was overweight. I was puffy. My feet hurt when I got out of bed. I had to walk like a duck. A lot of gas. That was all there. But to me, that was just me. Oh, I'm almost 40, right? That's what happens when you get older.
Because that's what we've seen happen to our parents and our
Right.
aunts and uncles. It's
Yes.
almost like a consequence of the hereditary aspects of
Mhm.
it's the diet that we eat.
Well, people always say, well, it's my
Mhm.
genetics. My mother's has type 2 diabetes. My cousin has type 2 diabetes. I'm going to have type 2 diabetes. And I'm sure you've heard this before. So your genes load the gun, but your lifestyle pulls the trigger.
Yes.
It's really what we do. We may have a predisposition to something genetically, but that does not mean we have to live that. So we can manage that with the choices that we make every day.
Yes. It's knowing what choices to make, though, isn't it?
Mhm.
Take Christmas, for example. We all go home to mom and pops for Christmas, or we all go home for whatever religious festivals that you are celebrating. You're going to go to a family event for it.
Mhm.
You can tell me exactly what is going to be on the table.
Absolutely. Mhm.
What we're doing, I think, just that meal as an example, we eat what our parents ate, who are eating what their parents ate, or they cook food in the same sort of way. And everyone buys probably too much processed food and too much ultra processed food.
Traditionally, or maybe more mainstream, that is the case, I
Hmm.
think. But I think it's changing because I don't do that. I'm not sure that you're doing that anymore. My clients certainly don't do that. So we now recognize, and this is what I teach my clients. I teach my clients, I want you to categorize foods as your most of the time foods, your some of the time foods, and then your rarely foods. Your most of the time foods are the ones that you know work for your body. They're the ones that actually make you better. They make you feel good. Your energy goes up, your bloating, your gas, all those symptoms go away. Then there's the sometimes foods, which are the ones that probably are a little more processed, and you can manage them depending on dose and frequency. So you can start to understand, well, I can handle having an ice cream cone twice a month, or once a week, or everybody's going to be different.
Yes.
But beyond that, it makes me uncomfortable. It makes me feel sick. My body metrics move in a negative direction. And then there's those rarely foods, which brings me back to Thanksgiving. Those are the things that traditionally your family has made. Your grandmother always makes this crumble. It's been in your family for years and you love it
Yeah.
and you can't wait to eat it, but you know you're going to feel so sick later, but you're choosing to eat it because you love it for so many other reasons. That's a rarely food, and it's okay. You can indulge and enjoy your rarely foods rarely, and you can do that by maintain and still live a healthy lifestyle with body balance. It's okay, but you have to really understand how your body reacts to different foods so you know what your most of the time foods are, and what your sometimes foods and what your rarely foods are.
You can do that when you understand
Right.
to go through that process. And you've also told us about some of the common symptoms of
Mhm.
problems that people might have, like bloating, gas, pains in joints. And the interesting one, of course, is that you can impact your mental health by the food that you eat. And that made me think about, well, yeah, we all have our comfort food,
Oh, yeah.
that thing that we're going to eat because we've had a bad day. And we know that eating that is going to make us feel good, or we've had a good day. So we're going to eat that
Mhm.
comfort food because that's is justified because we deserve it, because we're rewarding ourselves for having a good day.
Mhm.
Most of those foods generally contain sugar, so they're chocolate and
Mhm.
puddings, desserts, ice cream, donuts, all those sorts of things.
Mhm.
It's like getting to the point where we can actually understand,
Mhm.
the differences between different foods, the effect that they have on our bodies, but also the effect that they have on our bodies as we sort of pass through those different stages of life as well. What you could do when you were 17 will not be things that you could do when
Mhm.
you are in your 40s. How did the things like the mindset around food and the food that we eat change as we get older?
You hit on a big one, which is mindset. Those thoughts
Hmm.
that, I deserve this, I'm going to eat this, it's going to, all those things. Mindset's a huge part of transitioning into a healthier lifestyle. You have to actually understand what you're thinking, because what you're thinking is going to drive your behavior. That's a big piece of what I do with clients. It's not just the easy stuff to me, the tangible stuff is food. That's easy. But the mindset, what's going on in your head and what's driving your behavior, that's I think, the bigger piece of the puzzle. If you really truly want to make lasting healthy change, you actually have to get pretty clear on, who you identify as currently and what that person thinks versus what the next version of you is going to think, how that next version lives and thinks.
So, part of understanding how your body receives nutrition and treats it is knowing almost at which stage your body is in terms of food. So, teenager, eat loads of food, metabolic rate is through the roof, and burn it all off very quickly. As you get older, you need to have a mindset which allows you to be honest about how your body is changing.
Right. I always say, you need to understand the changing needs of your body and then support those needs. And as long as you recognize that you are changing and that your body's going to need different kinds of support while you change, you can maintain the lifestyle, the health, the activity that you want. But you have to be able to support your body properly at any stage so that you give it what it needs, then it in turn will give you what you want, which is that balanced weight, that great energy, good sleep, comfortable movement. So the aches and pains go away. Control with food, so you're not being run by sugar cravings. You're actually, intentional about maybe those indulgent foods that you want to eat, as opposed to thinking, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just ate half a pie. It's like, no, so it's you can have pie, but let's be more intentional about it and go, yes, I'm going to have a piece of pie, and it's fine. We don't need guilt, and we don't need that spiral of self-loathing to follow us around for 4 days that then would cause us to behave in a way that would cause us to eat more pie or ice cream or whatever it is. That's that mental game, right?
Yes.
But you're not wrong. I mean, our body chemistry shifts as we age. And with that shift, we don't metabolize things the same way we used to. After 40, women are more susceptible to metabolic syndrome, metabolic imbalance, high blood sugar, high insulin. There are many studies out there showing this shift. And so you cannot eat sugar the way that you used to eat sugar when you were 20. You can, but you're not going to like what happens to your body if you do. So, and I'm not saying you can't eat sugar. I'm saying you need to understand how and when to eat sugar, how much your body can tolerate, and then knowing how to get back on to those mostly foods when you need. I just came home from a 10-day vacation, and we pretty much ate a standard American diet while we were on vacation because we didn't have control over our food. And it was okay. It was fine because
You're on holiday.
I knew as soon as we got home, we'd be back on, our normal food that makes us feel really good. And we were very active on vacation. So that played a part in, managing our blood sugar while we were eating more bread and cookies and pie than we normally do.
Yeah, I understand. The thing with sugar is it's not eating sugar in the form of sugar. It's the number of things that sugar
Mhm.
in its various different forms are added to. And
Mhm.
even a savory product can have quite a lot of sugar in it.
Right.
So we need to read the labels on the things that we buy. And I suppose in many ways, you've got an oven. You should be making things yourself is the way to make sure that you know what has gone into that food.
Yeah. I just was having this conversation online with somebody yesterday about sugar and how do I manage these sugar cravings. I've had them my whole life and blah, blah, blah. So we were talking specifically about treats, chocolate, things like that. But what I said at the end of the conversation was the thing you have to understand is it's not necessarily the treats. So a lot of the clients who come to me, they're like, well, I don't eat a lot of sugar. I don't eat ice cream. I don't eat cookies. I don't eat these things. And I said, well, that's really not what we're talking about because most people don't spend most of their day eating that type of food. What we're talking about are the foods that convert very quickly to sugar in your body, even the healthy foods, the things that you think are working for you, which are actually not. So if unfortunately, bread is one of those things. Bread grains convert very quickly to sugar in your body. A bowl of rice converts very quickly to sugar in your body. So you might see rice in this bowl, but your body goes, oh, a whole bowl of white sugar, or glucose or whatever. So you have to understand the conversion because that stuff is also spiking up your blood sugar. So
Yes,
most of us understand we can't eat ice cream and cake and all that stuff every day. But at the same time, we're eating bread 3 times a day, and then we're having chips in between, and we're having an Oreo over a cookie over here, and, a side of pasta.
yes.
All of that. That's the problem when it comes to your blood sugar balance. It's less the cake and the ice cream because that would be something you probably eat sometimes or rarely. But bread, no way. Everybody's eating that constantly all day, every day. Pizza, pasta, pretzels, all that stuff.
I've just saw like a two nations separated by the same language type of situation.
Mhm.
When you say we're eating chips,
Mhm.
do you mean French fries or do
French
you
fries.
mean the what we would call a chip, which is a deep fry? It's a cold snack in a bag, thin slices of potato.
Yeah.
Or are both of them
I'm
as bad as
thinking,
each other?
cold, salty,
Right, a
greasy
salty,
snack in a
greasy
bag.
snack in a bag. And that was once explained to me,
Yeah.
because I used to fly an awful lot. And one of my colleagues said to me,
Mhm.
when they come round with the nuts and the whatever the mini snacks are, and you have them, and then you've got all that grease on your hands. That's just a small proportion of the
Mhm.
fat and sugar that has actually gone into your body.
Oh, that's such a good visual. I had never thought of that.
Do you really want that inside your body? And actually, do you really need the snack?
Right? Airplanes are the
Do
worst.
you need that? I mean, I've found that, part of my sugar craving, I would be thinking I'm hungry,
Mhm.
but actually I worked out I'm not really hungry, I'm just thirsty. And if I go and have a glass of water, it's amazing how quickly that hunger disappears
Yeah.
because actually my body is saying you're dehydrating. It's not that you're hungry,
Mhm.
you're dehydrating and you need water inside your body. Yeah.
Mhm.
And yet the
Yeah.
easy option is very often like, I've got biscuits in that biscuit barrel, or I've got bag of chips, crisps
Mhm.
in that cupboard, and there's bread. It's all of those sort of things. I think the best way to get into a healthier diet is not to actually buy the things in the first place.
Yeah, that's certainly one way. Well, that's something that I teach my clients too, as I said, at this phase, at the beginning phase, when we're trying to bring your body back into balance, we are going to create what I like to call your safety zone. And that's going to be your kitchen. That's going to be the place where you can stretch your arm out and you can grab whatever you hit and you can eat it and not worry about it because you've created the safety zone of most of the time healthy foods that you like. I'm not asking anybody to eat something they don't like. These are the foods you like. These are your most of the time foods. And your kitchen is full of them. So you don't have to think about what you're grabbing to eat. Anything you grab is going to be perfect. So you can worry about having to maybe muster up a little willpower in a restaurant or when you're traveling, but you don't have to use that willpower up at home because you've created this safety zone.
Yes, and I think it's also worth pointing out. I may get myself into trouble here with you, Amy, but 9 times out of 10, when we're in a restaurant because we are celebrating something,
Mhm.
or one of our friends or family members are celebrating something. And I think that's one of those occasions where it's all right to engage with the celebration rather than worry about what am I eating.
Right. And that's the idea is there's no reason to be
Yeah.
perfect. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to understand what's your normal and then go and do the celebration, enjoy yourself, do not feel guilty, and then just the next day just go back to, oh, this is how I normally do it. And your body will respond to that. So again, last week vacation, we we were I, I have a scale. It does all these metrics. I gained like 5 pounds for last week. Every other metric on my scale, my metabolic age, my muscle mass, my all of it improved. The only thing that somebody might look at and go, well, that was a negative, was that my weight went up by 5 pounds. Now, I want to tell you that my weight was back down 3 of those pounds in a day and a half. And it will be back to normal, if not below my normal, by tomorrow because it was just water weight. It was just from the cookies and the bread and all the things that I don't normally eat. I was holding a lot of extra water and I knew that. So I didn't get on the scale and freak out because I gained 5 pounds. I'm like, oh, I'm going to be peeing a lot the next couple of days, which is exactly what happened. And it went away. So that's the stuff you have to remember. Nobody gains 5 pounds of fat in 8 days. It just doesn't happen. It's just water because you ate differently than what you
Water.
normally do.
Yes. It is all just absolutely fascinating. And I know that you've got on your website all sorts of different tools that people can use. So, what is the web address for your website?
My business is called The Simplicity of Wellness,
Yep.
and the website is thesimplicityofwellness.com.
And that's all one word, no dashes in between the words, but the simplicity of wellness.com. Don't worry about writing it down. There's a link to it in the description. And you've also mentioned about your craving control fix kit, which there'll be a link to as well in the
Yeah, it's
description.
a three-part little explanation on how to manage your cravings and how to calm them back down. So there's a mindset piece, there's a food piece, but it kind of walks you through these three simple steps to help you if you're dealing with cravings, how to reel that in so that you're feeling much more in control and intentional about food rather than having food control you.
You know, in the village where I live, we have this really fancy bakery.
Mm.
I mean, really, really nice. I almost want to see that in the window
Mm.
as you walk past it and you're sort of thinking, I am not out to buy cakes,
Yeah, right.
and just have that craving control fix
Yes.
guide in the window would be really good.
Yes. Yes. I was introduced to those little buns when we were in London. I don't know, you get them like 3 in a pack and I forget what they were called, but they were like little cakes, I guess. Oh my gosh,
Oh, we do so many. We're very good at
so
cakes in the
good.
UK. There's like the little ice cakes, the little
Oh, they're so good.
oh, there's so many. There are so many. But for today, Amy, I have really enjoyed this conversation, and have to say, I am looking at nutrition from a totally different perspective. You've given us a big view of so many different issues. I hope that in the future you'll come back and go into some of them in more detail.
Oh, it would actually be my pleasure because I was just thinking we didn't actually get into the nitty-gritty of how to. What do you do? And yeah, that would be fun to talk
That
about.
would be great. Thank you very much. Really appreciate your time today and look forward to doing more in the future.
Thank you.
I am Michael Millward, the Managing Director of Abacida, and in this episode of Fit for My Age, I have been having a conversation with holistic nutritionist Amy White. You can find out more about both of us at abacida.co.uk. There's a link in the description, alongside links to Amy's website as well, thesimplicityoFwellness.com. I must remember to thank the team at matchmaker.fm for introducing me to Amy. If you're a podcaster looking for interesting guests, or if, like Amy, you have something very interesting to say, matchmaker.fm is where great hosts and great guests are matched and great podcasts are hatched. There is a link to matchmaker.fm and an offer code in the description. At Fit for My Age, our aim is proactive, positive aging. Knowing the risks early is an important part of maintaining good health. That is why we recommend the health assessments that are available from York Test, especially their annual health test. The annual health test from York Test provides an assessment of 39 different health markers covering conditions like cholesterol, diabetes, various different vitamin levels, and organ functions. The annual health test is conducted by an experienced phlebotomist who will complete a full blood draw at your home or workplace. Hospital standard tests are carried out in a UKAS accredited and CQC compliant laboratory, either here in the United Kingdom or in the United States. You can access your easy to understand results and guidance to help you make effective lifestyle changes anytime via your secure personal wellness hub account. There is a link and a discount code in the description. I am sure you will have enjoyed listening to this episode of Fit for My Age as much as Amy and I have enjoyed making it. Please give it a like and download it so you can listen anytime, anywhere. To make sure you don't miss out on future episodes, please subscribe. Remember, the aim of all the podcasts produced by Abacida is not to tell you what to think, but we do hope to have made you think. Until the next episode of Fit for My Age, thank you for listening and goodbye.